It's Tech for Senior, episode 104. This is 2 years. So it is March the 21st. We have about 73 people in our in the show today and a bunch over on YouTube. I want to thank everyone for coming. Again, as I say every week, it's your enthusiasm that keeps us going and keeps us producing all the shows and the videos. Of course, this is being recorded and we will be playing, it'll be available later on today if you want to watch it again and watch any of the segments. We also have a show on Thursday, which is called Tech for Senior Live. And that's where we get together and we talk about news items that have occurred through the week. And we post to our Facebook page all interesting articles through the week. We have all our staff posting interesting articles. So if you do want to keep in touch with the page, that's a good place to keep updated on all the news. And we have a podcast now. So we take our Thursday show and we podcast it. So you can actually listen to us by a podcast as well. Today on the premiere segment, and I've put the premiere segment in the newsletter, so the link should be in the newsletter, and I've put it on the in the chat as well, the link. Today we'll be talking about three things, and this will be at 1:30. We will be going, Dewey's going to talk on the difference between cord cutters and TV streamers. So you're not all the same, so he's going to enlighten us on that. I'm going to talk on part 3 on modems and routers, and this will be talk about mesh routers today. And then Hewie's going to talk about Bluetooth. Actually, last week I forgot that's a part 1, and he's to this week will be part 2. So he did a 2-part series, and he will be talking on Bluetooth connectivity part 2, and that will occur after the Q&A at 1:30. Then whatever time zone you're in, and that will be today. And I'll put the link. I know as people come in, they can't always see the link if it's in the chat, but I'll post that again for you. So it's we of course had our big celebration for our 100th party, but this is 104, which Huey, this is 2 years. We're going in next week will be season 3. So yes. Do you feel any older?
I do.
You know,
and you know what? I learned a lot this past year or 2 years doing these shows. So I'm hoping that the people who are watching also have learned some things and have gotten some value for their money.
Exactly. Have you been collecting the money?
No. Have you?
No, that was your job. I told you that.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, all right, we're just having some fun because of course Tech for Seniors free. I get to emails all week saying, can we join your club, or can we join this, or so on and so forth, but it's all free. And you know, the only way in which we know who you are or we can keep in touch with you is from the newsletter. And so we don't put ads in the newsletter, we don't make any money off the newsletter, but it is nice to be able to keep in contact with you and let you know what we're doing. So if you haven't subscribed to the newsletter, please do so we can keep in touch. Bob, how the heck are you doing today?
Just fine. Starting off year number 3 with bright new eyes.
Yeah. How many fingers am I holding up?
2.
There you go.
Actually had 5 fingers up.
Yeah, right. You better not be driving yet.
That was 5 fingers. Just had 2 of them that stuck out, but the other fingers are there.
Yeah, right. Oh, I was going to remind you, Huey, we have a busy week, right?
Yeah, we got Chromebook learning Chromebooks coming up on Thursday.
Yeah, on Thursday. So if you remind everyone that if you haven't signed up for the learning Chromebooks, you do have to sign up, but just go to our website, www.techforsenior.com. Please sign up, and we have it's going to be a fun Thursday. I've got a couple of really cool things I want to show. I know Hewie does as well, so it should be good. So so we'll see everybody, and that occurs an hour after our Thursday show on Tech for Senior Live. It's about an hour later, right, Hewie?
Yes, and I'll be sending out reminders for those who are already registered So you'll know if you don't get it probably within an hour of this show being over,
Mhm.
then you aren't signed up and need to sign up.
Yeah, you don't, if you've been registered once and you come to one of the shows, don't worry about it. You're registered. You only have to do it once. But if you're not on the list, just go, it's free. Just go over and sign up on our website, and that will work out well. Mhm.
If you get more than one reminder, you might want to look at the emails. You might have two accounts. Let us know.
Mhm.
You can unsubscribe from one of them.
Okay. And Bill, sorry, we'll go with Ray. Where the heck? Oh, Ray, there you are.
I'm here.
What's new in your life?
Nothing much. Still trying to get my Plex server completed. I've now learned that this is a never-ending job.
Will you let us know when it's finished?
Yes, hopefully I'll do that in this lifetime.
All right. Okay. And Dewey, you told us you're heading home in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, about 3 weeks we'll be on the road. Good Lord willing.
Are you going to have
We're going
those
to go
nice?
back to Colorado this time once again. I may repeat what happened, I think it was a year ago, where we actually had a Monday morning session as Joanne and I were traveling in the car, and I used my mobile hotspot too.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, we can do that again. Sure. And Bill James, you're ready to go with today. You got all sorts of stuff you're doing today, right? Unmute yourself. Give us some sound. Bill, you're muted.
Yes, I'm ready to go. And if anyone has any issues with anything, please, we'll discuss in the Q&A.
In the Q&A. All right.
Yeah.
Good.
It's
Listen,
a rainy day here today.
It's raining here. That's a miserable storm.
Yeah.
So listen, I'm going to stop gabbing away. Bob always says I talk too much. So are you ready to roll there, Bob?
I'm getting ready to roll.
This will work.
18th, 2022.
Yeah, now you got it.
Computer glitch disrupts 80% of rail traffic in Poland and other countries. Polish passenger train operator PKP suggested passenger consider different modes of transport with thousands of refugees pouring in from Ukraine. Polish authorities noticed disruption to the rail network early this morning, citing faults in control devices in several local railway traffic management centers. The disruption caused delays, and some trips were canceled altogether. WPR24.pl reported. According to Poland's Minister of Infrastructure, a glitch in the traffic control system made by Francis Alstom caused the disruption. The traffic control failure affected the entire country, covering over 800 kilometers of tracks, sparking fears the disruption was a part of a Russian cyber attack. Poland is the main destination of refugees fleeing the war in Ukraine. Many refugees use trains to reach Warsaw, Krakow, and other cities accommodating refugees. Close to 3 million people left Ukraine since Moscow's invasion began February 24th, 2022. UK watchdog concerned over Norton LifeLock's purchase of Avast. Norton LifeLock's $8.6 billion purchase of Avast raises competition concerns. The Competition and Markets Authority said Norton LifeLock's proposed purchase of Avast could lead to a reduction in competition in the UK and ultimately a worse deal for consumers when looking for cyber safety software. David Stewart, CMA Executive Director, said, unless the companies can offer a clear-cut solution to address concerns, the CMA intends to conduct an in-depth Phase 2 investigation. Norton LifeLock and Avast both offer cyber safety software to consumers under various brands. Products include antivirus software, privacy software such as VPNs, and identity protection software. The UK competition watchdog is concerned that the proposed deal could lead to UK consumers getting a worse deal when looking for cyber safety software in the future. According to Reuters, Norton LifeLock called the CMA's decision surprising. Avast said the deal will only benefit consumers in the UK. The investigation would delay the completion of the deal, which is now expected to close in mid to late 2022 and not April 4th as originally expected. Stellar startups, beware. Bad guys want a slice too. Some cynics say no good deed goes unpunished. And that appears to be what is happening in cyberspace, with high-growth enterprises more likely to be targeted by threat actors, according to a recent study. Hypergrowth companies, defined as businesses enjoying more than 40% annual increase in revenues, are increasingly singled out by cybercriminals hungry for an illicit slice of their fat profits, InfoSec firm Beyond Identity said in a blog. Employees from hypergrowth companies reported more cyber attacks than standard growth companies, said Beyond Identity. Over a third of respondents said their company had experienced 3 to 5 previous attacks. Slightly more than a quarter reported 1 to 2. Read the full story at Cyber News. FBI launches crypto unit to curb online crime. The new nerve center of the FBI's virtual currency program, dubbed Virtual Assets Unit, will help the organization with intelligence, technology, and operational support. According to the FBI, VAU will house virtual currency experts and additional resources to help integrate the understanding of cryptocurrencies in the investigation process. The motivation for setting up a crypto-focused unit is clear. Virtual assets dominate the cyber underworld as means of ransom and payments between threat actors. The VAU is meant to help agents throughout the organization to make the most out of the virtual currency expertise the FBI already possesses. Read more at Cyber News. Anonymous stole 20 terabytes of data from Rosneft's German unit. Hackers claim to have wiped several dozen of Apple's devices, penetrated deep into the company's administrative systems, and obtained image copies of employee notebook drives. The German branch of the loosely knit collective Anonymous claims they've breached the German subsidiary of Russia's state oil company, Rosneft. Local media reported that Rosneft approached the company's BSI cybersecurity watchdog, indicating that the data breach has indeed happened. Rosneft is the third largest German oil refining market player with deep political ties to German elites. Former German Chancellor Gerhard Schröder is Rosneft's chairman of the board. Read the full story at Cyber News. U.S. law to compel firms to report cyber attacks. The Senate has approved a bill that, if passed, would require vital infrastructure companies to report a cyber attack no more than 3 days after learning of it. Similarly, such bodies would have to notify the authorities no later than a day after paying any ransom demand by the threat actors. However, the bill is being contested by the Department of Justice and Homeland Security, who have criticized provisions in the proposed new law that stipulate the reports must be made to Government Cybersecurity Agency, CISA, and not the FBI, conventionally the first responder to reported incidents of cybercrime. The FBI told Politico that moving key responsibility away from it in favor of CISA might discourage companies from talking to the Bureau and make it harder for the government to disrupt cybercrime gangs. But not all observers share the FBI's pessimism about the bill, which is due to go before Congress for consideration. The outlook for enacting the bill into law is strong, given that both chambers have approved similar cyber incident reporting requirements, said law firm Morrison Forster. Read the full story at Cyber News. Just follow the link. And that wraps up this week's Avast Security News Roundup. Stay safe, stay secure, and I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye. Here is the Avast Security News Roundup for the week ending March 11, 2022.
Come on, there we go. Bob, are you going to play? Do you want to play your next segment?
It's tax season again, and Emotet is looking to cash in. Don't become the victim. This may look authentic, but it's not. The IRS will never ask for personal information via phone or email. Emotet has consistently employed financial themes in its phishing emails, and attackers have previously exploited the arrival of the U.S. tax season to construct emails targeting users who need to file tax returns. The 2022 tax season is no different. As early as March 14, 2022, Emotet operators returned to their old tax season hunting grounds with some new tricks, as Defense Intelligence observed phishing emails using W-9 tax form lures to deliver Emotet payloads. Emotet operators have upped their game in this most recent campaign, now including the Internal Revenue Service's IRS logo, a specific mention of the organization employing individual recipients, and a password with which to extract the attached password-protected archives. When the Office macro-laden spreadsheet enclosed in the password-protected archives are opened, they request that macros be enabled. If macros are enabled, Emotet.dll files are delivered to the victim's computer. Emotet operators have also inserted some variety in the text of these campaigns, which will impede recognition by spam filters and secure email gateways. Phishing threat actors not known to be associated with Emotet have also attempted to take advantage of tax season, primarily in credential phishing campaigns. We expect phishing activity of this nature to continue throughout the U.S. tax season. Keep your guard up. Emotet and others are hoping you'll let your guard down. For more on this topic, see confence.com at the link listed below. Stay safe, stay secure, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Bob. Let's see what Dewey has to say.
Good morning, friends. I'm Dewey, and my Tech Talk topic for today is HDMI cables and ports demystified. At last Monday's Tech for Seniors meeting, Carl Kalenda posted a note in chat saying he would appreciate it if I would do a tech talk on HDMI and perhaps more specifically define the difference between HDMI 2.1 and HDMI 2.1a. Fellow TFSer Dick Vogel agreed with Carl's suggestion. Got a little dirty secret for you. Truth be told, I don't really know much about HDMI cables, ports, and standards. I don't know any more than most of you. The same goes for many of the tech talks I write. Surprise. My ace in the hole is having been a teacher for 36 years. I taught both band and orchestra and had a penchant for organization, study, and research, and I really enjoyed writing on the side as I had time. The acronym HDMI stands for High Definition Media Interface. High definition video and audio is digital. Digital replaced analog video and audio because it was simply much higher quality. An early HDMI logo is at the left, and a more recent HDMI Ultra HDR logo is at the right. The term media is broad enough to include every kind of device used to transmit digital video and audio, like cables, ports on TVs, computers, DVD players, and so forth. The term interface, as used here, simply means connector or connection. A Google search revealed that HDMI was developed cooperatively by 7 companies, including Sony, Hitachi, Philips, and the parent companies of RCA and Panasonic. HDMI 1.0 was released on December 9th, 2022, and was based on standards for a single cable which would transmit both digital audio and video and had a reliable connector interface. The first significant improvement was HDMI 1.4. Released in 2009, it was designed to transmit 4K video up to 24 frames per second. Minor revisions 1.4a and 1.4b followed. HDMI 2.0 was released in 2013, HDMI 2.0a in 2015, and HDMI 2.0b in 2016, which increased the bandwidth from 10.2 gigabits per second to 18 gigabits per second. HDMI 2.0b was a significant upgrade. It supported 4K video at 60 frames per second in all forms of high dynamic range and set foundational standards for the upcoming 8K resolution TVs. HDMI 2.1 launched in 2018. Now that's new, 2.1. Launched in 2018 and supports frame rates to 120 frames per second, doubled it, and 4K and 8K video to a maximum bandwidth of 48 gigabits per second. HDMI 2.1 cables are also known now as HDMI Ultra High Speed. Note the logo to the right, and those are the cables you need to buy. Don't ever buy anything less than that. Please note that these improvements that we've talked about have seen HDMI cable bandwidth increase from a starting 5 gigabits per second out to 48 gigabits per second. Note the graphic displaying the changes. And also it increased frame rates from 24 frames per second to 120 frames per second. It's amazing progress. I need to mention that talk about HDMI ARC. It's an HDMI port on TVs since the 2009 launch of HDMI 1.4. The HDMI audio return channel, ARC port, connects your TV and audio system using a single high-speed HDMI cable. Now, one clarification here. Remember, HDMI ports on your TVs are essentially inputs, but the audio return channel outputs on the same cable an audio signal to your external devices like your audio system or soundbar. This eliminates the need for an additional composite audio or optical audio cable to send this high quality audio to a soundbar or AV receiver. The 2018 launch of HDMI 2.1 included a significant upgrade to enhanced ARC, known as EARC. Since HDMI 2.1 has a higher bandwidth than HDMI 1.4, it can transport the original audio signal through an HDMI cable and reproduce it with the best sound possible without any compromise. Now that I've pretty much brought you up to speed on 2.1, it's time to get back to the original query about the difference between HDMI 2.1 and HDMI 2.1a. That's what this talk was supposed to be all about. A February 8th, 2022 article by Simon Cohen in digitaltrends.com offered a wealth of information about HDMI 2.1a, including this introductory statement. Listen on. The first thing you should know about HDMI 2.1a is that you probably don't need it. As a minor update to the HDMI 2.1 specification, it only introduces one new feature, source-based tone mapping, and it's called SBTM. He went on to say that unless you're a gamer looking for the ultimate in HDR performance, or a PCR user who routinely works with a combination of standard dynamic range and high dynamic range content, you can safely ignore the HDMI 2.1a standard for a long time to come. A significant portion of Simon Cohen's February 8th article was devoted to a detailed explanation of SBTM. I'd suggest that anyone interested find Simon Cohen's article, which is called HDMI 2.1a is on its way. Here's what you need to know. If you're wondering about If you're wondering if HDMI 2.1a is available now, the answer is simply no. For starters, manufacturers haven't even yet declared support for SBTM, which is the primary thing different about 2.1a. The HDMI Forum is a group that guides and develops new HDMI standards, and it plans to release the HDMI 2.1a standard by the end of this month of March. But we probably won't see new products touting SBTM until 2023. To take advantage of SBTM, all of your media devices will need to be upgraded to HDMI 2.1a. This includes gaming consoles, streaming media devices, TVs, AV receivers, soundbars, and so forth. Fortunately, many devices, sources, and displays sold in recent years will be firmware updatable. So in order to support the HDMI 2.1a standard. However, there's no real guarantee that even if your TV is physically capable of handling 2.1a, that your manufacturer will indeed issue an update. You just don't know. Also, it's unlikely that you'll ever need to replace your existing HDMI cables for SBTM or 2.1a. SBTM uses extended display identification data signaling to communicate a display's capability to a connected source device. EDID has been a part of the HDMI specification from the beginning, from HDMI 1.0. The HDMI licensing administrator, which oversees the way HDMI capable products are marketed, has a clear rule that manufacturers of products like TVs, DVD players, streaming devices are obligated to list the specific HDMI features they support. Now, for example, this would include in HDMI 2.1 things like EARC, variable refresh rate, and 4K video at 120 hertz. If you're talking about HDMI 2.1a, of course, it would include SBTM. Well, that's my Tech Talk story for today, and I'm sticking with it. Good Lord knows I sure ventured out into the weeds toward the end on this one. Well, anyway, thanks for watching. Stay safe, and the good Lord willing, we'll be seeing you next week. I want to mention also that we're just rounding out the end of our wintering here at our little tin shack with lean-to at Silveridge in Mesa, Arizona. And if things get too busy, I might have to not be here for a week. Well, anyway, see you later.
Thanks, Dewey. Well done. Now we have Bill James, secret Windows features. Bill, are you ready to roll?
Windows secret features. They are numerous, and this is some of the highlights. But one of the things, Microsoft loves speech recognition when it comes to Windows and Office. At any time, you can use the Win plus H hotkey combination to pop up a box that records your voice through your PC's microphone and dictates the speech in your current text field. You still need to type manual punctuation, but save yourself some typing by dictating emails, messages, and more. In Windows 11, it's still Windows plus H, except that you'll get a pop out in the lower part of your screen. Just click on the microphone. The Cloud Clipboard. We all use Windows Clipboard to cut and paste, but did you know you can save multiple items at once and paste across devices? Use the command Win plus V to view recent clippings saved to the clipboard. Go to Settings, System, Clipboard to control this feature and to sign into your Microsoft account for cross-device usage. Windows 11 is just Systems, Settings, Systems, and Clipboard. The secret start menu. I think many of us are familiar with this, but here's a reminder. If you are a fan of that old school, i.e. non-tile start menu experience, you can still sort of have it. Right-click on the Windows icon in the bottom left corner to prompt a textual jump menu with a number of familiar destinations, including apps and features, search, and run. All these options are available through the standard menu interface, but you can access them quicker here. Windows 11, right-click on the Windows icon. The Windows Sandbox. Windows 10 Pro and 11 Pro users have an extra asset to protect them against dangerous apps and files. If you enable Windows Sandbox inside the control panel, it will create a virtual instance of Windows inside Windows. You can then safely open anything you're not sure about before introducing it to your actual Windows installation. Once you close out of the sandbox, everything inside of it goes away without hurting your computer. To use this feature, virtualization has to be turned on. To use Windows Sandbox, you have to install it as a feature. So you type the Windows search in the Windows search box of the control panel, and then from the control panel, select Programs and Features, then select Turn Windows Features on or off, scroll down to Windows Sandbox and select. The system will reboot to add the feature. And there it looks, that's what it looks like. It looks just like another instance of Windows, except that it's a virtual box. Windows virtualization. One of the most powerful features baked into Windows 10 Pro and 11 is native support for hardware virtualization. This is via a virtualization platform called Hyper-V. Once you enable virtualization on Windows, it opens the door to creating a virtual machine on your system. This machine is completely separate from your main system. You can go crazy with this. If you want, install anything you want on it without worrying about messing up your main system. There are two ways to enable Windows virtualization if it's not already enabled. One is in settings and one is in BIOS. Hardware virtualization systems requirements are Windows 10 Pro or 11 or Enterprise. You need a 64-bit processor with second-level address translation, 4 gigs of RAM, and a BIOS-level hardware virtualization support. Besides enabling virtualization in Windows 10 in the BIOS, you can also choose to enable virtualization in settings. But before you proceed, you need to check whether your computer has enabled virtualization. Open your task manager and go to performance. On the bottom right, you can see virtualization and check whether it is enabled or disabled. If you find that virtualization is disabled, you need to do the following. Press the Windows key and I key to open settings. Choose recovery. In the recovery option, go to advanced startup. Click restart now. You will enter the Windows recovery environment. Click troubleshoot, advanced options, and UEFI firmware settings. Then click restart to continue. Next, you will enter the BIOS settings, select virtualization, and choose to enable it. Once all the steps are finished, you have successfully enabled virtualization in both 10 and 11. Another feature of Windows that is little known is called memory integrity, also known as hypervisor protected code integrity, or HVCI. Is a Windows security feature that makes it difficult for malicious programs to use low-level drivers to hijack your computer. A driver is a piece of software that lets the operating system, Windows in this case, and a device like a keyboard or webcam, for 2 examples, talk to each other. When when the device wants Windows to do something, it uses the driver to send the request. Memory integrity works by creating an isolated environment using hardware virtualization. Think of it like a security guard inside of a locked booth. This isolates environment. The locked booth is our analogy, prevents the memory integrity feature from being tampered with by an attacker. A program who wants to run a piece of code which may be dangerous has to pass the code to memory integrity inside that virtual booth so they can be verified. When memory integrity is comfortable that the code is safe, it hands the code back to Windows to run. Typically, this happens very quickly. Without memory integrity running, the security guard stands right out in the open where it's much easier for an attacker to interfere with or sabotage the guard, making it easier for malicious code to sneak past and cause problems. How do you manage memory integrity? In most cases, memory integrity is on by default in Windows 11 and can be turned on for Windows 10. To turn it on or off, you want to select this, go to the start button and type core isolation. And then select the core isolation system settings from the search results to open the Windows Security app. On the core isolation page, you'll find the memory integrity along with a toggle to turn it on and off. Another feature of Windows is the enhanced Windows search. If a PC searches are taking too long in Windows, narrow things down under Settings, Searching Windows. Set the search to Classic, which only applies searches to your libraries and desktop. The Enhance option indexes your whole computer, which takes longer and uses more power. You can further narrow your search by marking certain folders as excluded. In Windows 11, look under Settings, Privacy, and Security, search Windows. The revamped screen capture tool. For years, the snipping tool was the only screen capture software built into Windows, but the Snip and Sketch app has changed screenshots in Windows 10 forever. Use shortcuts Shift plus Windows plus S to choose between rectangular, freeform, Windows, and full screen snips. You will then find the tool has a built-in image editor separate from Microsoft Paint. This also applies to Windows 11 as well. Press pause on updates. We all know updates are important. They give your operating system the latest features, security patches, and more. But sometimes when you just want Windows to leave you alone without those incessant pop-ups, you need to go to Settings, Update, Security, Windows Update, and you can pause upcoming feature updates. Home and Pro users with Windows 11 will have different options. Cloud reset. You need to reset your PC. Microsoft cloud-based reset feature should help users when Windows crashes and there's no recovery drive or USB drive to reset the operating system. This remote option reinstalls the same version of Windows previously running, but it will still require removing all your apps and personal files. You can find this option under Settings, Update, and Security Recovery. For Windows 11, it's Recovery Reset PC. Drag to pin windows. We all multitask, and Windows makes it simple by letting you pin windows in different parts of the screen. Grab any window and drag it to the left or right boundary of the screen, and it will fit to that half of the screen. You can also move a window to any of the four corners of the screen to lock it to a corner. We can prompt similar behavior with a selected window by combining the Windows key and any directional key. For instance, move a window to the left side of the screen with Win plus left arrow shortcut, then use Windows up plus up or down arrow, and the window will snap to the corner. Customize your command prompt. If you like to dig into the innards of Windows with command prompt, you'll be happy to know you can customize the tool itself. Open the command prompt, right-click on the Windows top bar, and select Properties to personalize your experience. Near sharing. In an open document or photo, you can share the file directly with nearby devices the same way Apple's AirDrop works. Click the share icon atop your dock or photo toolbar to open the panel, and then click Turn on Nearby Sharing to send files to another computer using Nearby Share. Control this feature by going to Settings, System, Shared Experience to turn on Nearby Sharing on or off. You can also set it to share with anyone or only your devices. And that's it for the Windows secrets. I'm Bill James.
We'll get you to stop sharing that. So thank you, Bill. Hewie, are you ready to roll?
I certainly am. Please like this video and subscribe to our channel. Many times I go to help a neighbor, a friend, or a member of my user group with a new computer, a new printer, or they are just needing some help. One of the first things I have to do is sign on to their Wi-Fi with my computer, with my phone, or in the case of new equipment, with their hardware. One of the first questions I ask is, what is your Wi-Fi password? And I get a blank stare. And I look at the face of the person and I see panic. Then they start shuffling through papers or through a notebook or through card, and they find either no password or they find a whole bunch of them, and they don't know which one is the actual one. So let's look at some ways in which you might be able to get the password for them and alleviate that panic. The first place to look is on the router itself. That might require you getting on your hands and knees underneath the desk or somewhere in the room in a dust-filled area and find the router. And then either on the top or the side or the bottom, there may be a label with the password. If you're lucky, that password wasn't changed and you have determined what the password is. To view the password of a currently connected network in Windows 11, or in Windows 10, as a matter of fact, you can do it the same way. What we're going to do is we're going to open up our settings. There are several ways in which you can get to your settings. You can do it from your toolbar. You can do it from your start button. And then go to settings. And then what you want to do is you want to go to Network and Internet. You want to go to Advanced Network Settings. More network adapter options. You go to the Wi-Fi and right mouse click and go to status. If status is not bold, that means the Wi-Fi is not on. But if the status is there, you click it, you'll get this window and go to wireless property. Then you go to the security tab, and you'll see the network security key is here, little dots. If you click on show characters, it will then show the password for your network. If you want to access the password of other Wi-Fi networks that are saved on your device, you can do that too on Windows 11 or on Windows 10. The operating system keeps the network security keys of every Wi-Fi network you get connected to. However, unlike the previous method, there is no straightforward way to view these passwords. You will have to use some commands on the command prompt window. Let's see how to do that. What you first have to do is go to your command prompt. The best way to do it is open your start button, click, and type in command prompt. You'll see it here. You're going to right mouse click because you do have to run it as administrator. You're going to want to allow it, and you have your command prompt as administrator available for you. You need to copy and paste or type the following command to view all of the saved networks. That's what you need to copy. When you press enter, it will give you a list of all the user profiles on that particular computer. This is my desktop, and it's wired most of the time, so it does not save many wireless networks, and it's not moved, so there are not many available. Next, what you do is you take one of the ones that you want to find the password for, and you're going to copy and paste using the information that you find with this line. You'll see all of the information. You substitute whatever the user profile that you wish to have in this area, but everything else would be the same. When I click that, I press enter, it gives me the key content, and that is the password. That's it. You can copy or write down the Wi-Fi password and use or share it with others as needed. Let me show you an example from my laptop. From a long list of user profiles, I'm choosing Beef O'Brady's. I substitute Beef O'Brady's in the line, paste it, and get a key content. If you find it difficult to follow the steps to reveal your Wi-Fi password, or if you frequently need to view the password of your Wi-Fi network, then there's a third-party application that will show you the network key without any hassle. The Wireless Key View from Nearsoft helps you in accessing the Wi-Fi password that you have forgotten or lost. You can access all of the SSID and their network security keys saved on your device. The user interface of the application is a bit old, but it will still work for you. Here's how to use it. Go to the website that I have here. You will find the Wireless Key View. The current version, as I'm making this video, is version 2.22. And what you want to do is go all the way to the bottom of the page. And you will find you can download, and I downloaded the Wireless Key View for X64. Make sure you make note of the zip file password because you'll need that to unzip the file. Once you download and unzip the file, you will find the wirelesskeyview.exe file, and you just click it. It's going to ask you to allow it. Once you do, let's bring this here, you will see the same network names and the keys for those on here. You can run this at any time. You do not have to install it. Just remember where that app is located, or make a shortcut on your desktop for wirelesskeyview.exe. Wi-Fi passwords can be a valuable asset, so it's important to take the necessary steps to protect them. Now that you know how to view your Wi-Fi password in Windows, it's also important to learn how to manage and protect it. Here are a few tips to help you manage your Wi-Fi password. Change the default SSID and password immediately after getting a new Wi-Fi connection. Never share your password with anyone unless you trust them completely. Make sure the password is strong and consists of letters, numbers, and special characters. Update your passwords regularly to reduce the chance of unauthorized access. Always check how many devices are connected to your Wi-Fi network to know who is on your Wi-Fi. For that, you need to check the dashboard of your router. Now, those tips are good ones. Most of us don't adhere to them. I've shown you how to view Wi-Fi passwords in Windows in 4 ways. The first method is to check your router for a label which contains the Wi-Fi password. In the second method, I showed you how to view the password of currently connected networks using advanced Wi-Fi settings. With this method, there is no need for any command line or administrator rights. You can just open Windows settings, follow a few instructions, and get your network security key. In the third method, I showed you how to view passwords of all Wi-Fi networks that are saved on your system. This method uses the command prompt window and some commands. It's also straightforward to follow. The fourth method is to run a third-party application. How to see your Wi-Fi password in Windows. I'm Hewie Poplock. There we go.
Thank you so much. Bill is going to do a session next week on the malware bytes section because we need to get to Ray's music. Ray, are you getting ready for your music section?
Oh, I am now.
I'm going to just say, let me just say goodbye to our YouTube, people over on YouTube. Thank you for coming. We will be starting our music segment now. If you want to pop over to our Zoom meeting and participate in the Q&A, we have lots of room for you over here. So we're happy to let you in and you can participate. Probably lots of questions on Q&A. Ray, I'm going to let you take it away. Okay. And I'm going to just stop the stream.
All right, and I admit right off the bat, I do not play any musical instruments. I do not know how to read music. So this was very interesting when I first saw this. The topic is all popular songs are the same 4 chords. Now, this is a group called the Axis of Awesome. So in politics, we've heard the expression axis of evil. Well, in music, there's the Axis of Awesome. Now, this is an Australian trio formed way back in 2006, and whose brand provides a combination of music and comedy in their stage performances. Now, the band's breakout song was called 4 Chords, and it's a medley of 36 pop songs that all contain the same basic chord structure. According to Wikipedia, when this song was first played on BBC Radio, the airplay drove listeners to the internet, and 4 Chords went viral, receiving millions of views on YouTube. Now, Axis of Awesome has performed this song on stage and even in studio on radio stations countless times, and they often will change the medley to include new tunes, with the total number of songs using the same 4 chords now reaching over 80 in number. My wife, Carol, introduced this song to our local music listening group when we held our monthly club meeting last week at our home. Everyone enjoyed it. I knew this would be my selection for today. Now, while Axis of Awesome stopped performing in 2018 to pursue other endeavors, we have this special video to watch. My guess is this is one you'll want to share with family and friends too. Now, finally, this is a listing of all the different songs that they'll just do a little clip of in their performance. When you get the newsletter on Tuesday, this will be there. So then if you want to watch it again, you'll be able to follow which songs are which. So let me come over here, make the normal change I do for video. And here is the Axis of Awesome.
I think you got a hit there, Ray. The comments coming in, I think that was pretty good.
Just 4 chords, even including Old Lang Syne.
Yeah, including Old Canada.
Yes, that was in Montreal.
Fabulous.
Well done, well done. Another great toe tapping segment. It was really, really great. Thanks so much. You know, we're a little bit over, so I want to just move on into our question and answer. But before we do that, if you do have to leave and you want to come back, just remember the premiere event that is coming on at 1:30. I've put the link in the chat a number of times, and of course it was in the newsletter. Dewey will be talking about the difference between cord cutters and TV streamers. I'm going to be talking about part 3 on modems and routers. This will be about mesh routers, and Huey's going to give us part 2 on Bluetooth connectivity. If you have to leave, we'll see you maybe next week, or we'll see you maybe for the Thursday show, or even learning Chromebooks. Please make sure you subscribe. We're going to move into the Q&A session now. And if you have if you want to ask anybody a question, you can put your hand up, and we will be endeavor to answer that. And I have a question. Hold on, before everyone does that. Hey, I get priority here, and I have a question, and I have it for Bill James. Bill, where's Bill? Where did you go? I can't see on my screen.
here.
Oh, there you are. There you are. Right. So, Bill, question for you. Nearby share. So, on the Chromebook, my whole segment this week on Thursday show on Learning Chrome is going to be about nearby share on a Chromebook. And you can, of course, use nearby share to connect to your Android phone, and you can do it both ways. The question is does nearby share work with a Windows machine? Because when you did your segment and you were talking about nearby share, is that going to be, can we use that to share to an Android device from Windows? Do you know if that works?
If you have your phone, you can. You have your phone companion, you can share it with the phone.
But is that using the nearby share feature, or is that using?
That's using the nearby share feature in Windows. And it gives you some devices that you can share to, and you can share it to your phone.
So would it be possible to share it to a Chromebook as well?
Now that I don't know. I've never seen my Chromebook pop up because it gives the devices which it will share to.
Right.
Now I could, if you use it in this way, if you have a like I can share to Google Drive. So in that way, I could use it.
You could do that, yeah. But what I'm saying is that if it was Bluetooth, and if your Chromebook was broadcasting Bluetooth, wouldn't it just pick up the Bluetooth signal?
I don't know, Ron. I can't answer that direct.
I'm going to have to.
You know, I can share to a device, or I can also share to a something like OneDrive or or what's the other one I want to think about? One of the other cloud storage.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We'll get to Bill. Do you know the answer to that?
Yes, I might have. Yesterday, our sister-in-law was here from Bandon, Oregon, and she was telling us about the Bandon.tv. And so I went on my phone and shared it with the device that showed up as our smart TV, and it worked perfectly.
Oh, but
I was amazed, and it was a Vimeo file that we watched on there, and our TV doesn't pick up Vimeo, but the phone broadcast it to the smart TV.
Right. That's called casting, though.
That's casting. That's not. This is nearby share feature, and it's a Bluetooth connectivity, or it can be Wi-Fi, and then you can. I'll explain it on Thursday, but you can share with Chromebooks or Android phones. You can share using this specific technology, and I'll go over that. But I just when Bill today brought it up on Windows, I forgot. I didn't even know that Windows had that as a feature, and I thought, well, it must all work together. So I'll have to do some testing for Thursday. Right. Elaine was up first. Are you there? Go ahead, unmute yourself and let's.
I'm back.
Okay.
Yeah, just before we got started, I was asking about using OneDrive, and I was trying to put some things on OneDrive, but still keep them on my laptop computer. And I found when I went to the taskbar and went to the OneDrive folder that I could take a folder and I could drag it into the OneDrive and it would upload that folder. But then it was gone from where I used to have it on my taskbar, which was under C/data. And if I went to OneDrive, the folder was there and I could access it. But I'm wondering, is there a way to keep it on in where I'm used to finding it on the taskbar, which is under C/data, instead of up in the OneDrive and then look for the folder?
So yeah, by dragging it, you're I believe moving it. Right. What you want to do is right mouse click while you drag it, and you'll get a choice, copy or move, and it should copy it, or it might be in some settings. I can't recall exactly how you do it, but by dragging it, you're actually moving it.
Now, some of these are rather large folders. If I just copy it, does it let me copy it directly to OneDrive then?
Use a right click and you have the option to copy it to where it's being sent.
But then you have
So-
two copies. I would not do
Yeah, then
that.
you have two copies. There's a way to turn it on and tell it that you want to share that with OneDrive. And I can't off the top of my head recall how to do it. But that's what you want to do. Don't drag it.
Okay. I guess it's not a big problem if I have to go to the OneDrive folders, because I don't do this with very many things, just a couple of things that are really vital that I don't want to have destroyed in a tornado if we get a tornado tonight.
But the thing, once you get it set up right, if you put a file into the folder on your hard drive, it automatically will load it up to the cloud as well.
Yeah,
And
that's
Elaine, if
what
you
I
want
want
that,
to.
I was going to say,
Pardon?
if you want that on your taskbar, just right click and say pin to taskbar.
That's not backing it up.
No, but I mean, but she said it was on her taskbar at one point.
Oh, you mean so that I could access it without going to OneDrive and then going to the folders on OneDrive and then
Right,
going
just-
to the other?
Just right there, it says pin that folder to the taskbar and you have access to it.
Okay, well, that's a good idea. Well, I'll try that then.
But you're still
And
going
can I
to
do that also pinning it to the desktop?
Yes.
So
But you-
if I,
you're still going to have to connect it to OneDrive.
but once it's connected to OneDrive, if I go once to OneDrive and then go to the folder and then right click on that folder and say pin to desktop or pin to
taskbar. Yeah.
taskbar, which is the one on the bottom.
That's the one on the bottom.
Okay, I'll try that. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Bill, go ahead. Just unmute
Muted.
yourself.
How about now?
Good, we can hear you.
Can
Go
you hear
ahead.
me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Elaine reminded me of the tornadoes destroying everything. And we've been watching a young man called Ryan Hall Y'all on YouTube. And he follows tornadoes and severe weather, snowstorms and everything much better than the National Weather Service or anything. He uses all those tools. But if anybody has any severe weather coming towards him, he tries to let you know to get in your safe spot and then also when to come out. So might kind of bookmark that on your bookmarks.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
Yeah,
a lot.
Mike Ungerman and Mike Swift earlier said, Mike Ungerman said, I just checked the memory integrity setting in Windows 10. It failed to turn on with the error message, resolve any driver incompatibilities and scan again. And he asked, what now? And then Mike Swift right after that said, my Windows install shows incompatible drivers when attempting to turn on core isolation. So some of these things that Bill showed, you may have to do a little bit of research to figure out how to make it work on your system, if it will work at all.
Carl, go ahead.
Yeah, just if any of the questions are done, I'll give a brief overview of what I learned looking into USB-C.
Perfect. Thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah, when I, like most of us, you buy a device or something, you have a cable, you get it, if it needs a B or A or C, you just go to the store and get the cable. You don't give much thought to beyond that because it makes whatever you want to work. And over the years, and Dewey did a great presentation on HDMI. Well, USB-C has some of the same features of transferring video and data, but there's one other feature that came more recent is us with smartphones. And the bigger the phones and the more capabilities, you need bigger batteries. And for the longest time, we used lithium-ion batteries. Now they're using lithium polymer. So we want to do not only what Dewey was explaining, the complexities of that, there's another factor, and that is power. You want to be able to charge those batteries. And that has become a very sophisticated capability now, because we want the batteries to be charged as quickly as we can, as safely as course as we can. And we like the connector that I thought was the greatest revolution is the where you could flip the cable connector is no longer keyed. You can put it in either way. And the newer USB cables and the direction is all of our devices are going to have USB on both ends. You'll have a cable with both ends are identical. But charging the phone is another challenge, kind of like what Chris and Jim I alluded to earlier. When you started off in video, we had a left channel, right channel, and you had a yellow cable for the video, and then we went to S video and so forth. Then that was all analog. And then we went into digital. Well, the charging capabilities of the batteries, we want those optimized. We want the most efficient. And to do that is a huge new step way beyond just the connector itself, which I was just limited to. I love that feature. But way beyond that is the technology of microprocessors, even in the cable and in both the phone and in the charger. And they will optimize that charging, kind of like we want to do with electric cars, I guess. You want that to be the most efficient, least losses. The phones, you don't want heat in the phones. So at any rate, that's what I've determined is that the challenge of the C is the ability to charge those different batteries, particularly the lithium polymer batteries that give much more capacity than the lithium ion. And that's what the other hidden part of C is. It's much more than the physical. For example, a regular USB connector has 4 terminals and a shield, which could be common, and there's 5. The HDMI has 19 wires, connections. The USB-C has 24 in that little tiny form factor. And those other connections will be used for communicating digitally between the charging device and the phone, talking to each other to optimize their feature.
Thanks so much. So I guess really in summary, what you're saying is all cords aren't the same. And if you have an HDMI cord and you're looking to connect something through HDMI and you've got new equipment, and you go and you look at your old box of connectors and that HDMI cord that's 15 years old, and you pull it out and say, hey, I don't have to buy a new HDMI cord because I have my old HDMI cord. That's probably not the right one to use, right, Carl?
Exactly. And the HDMI, that's a good reference because you've got all those capabilities, HDMI 1 and like Dewey mentioned 2
That's
and
right.
2.8. But now you have the power management along with that. So
Right.
Embedded in that same cord is technology, or actually microchips on each end of the charging device and the source to optimize that charging, because we want things faster, not only digitally and so forth, but charging also. And that's the new, besides the universal ends of the cable, and the fact that it's not genderized, there's a whole set of technology behind the charging.
Super. Listen, thanks so much, Carl. That's great. Now we're going to let everybody have a 10-minute rest before, of course, our premiere service starts. I want to thank everyone for coming today. It's 20 minutes after. We've really got to end the show now, give everyone a bit of a rest before we continue on. I want to thank everyone for coming. Thank all the presenters. It was a great show today. Sorry we didn't get through everything, but you know,
can you put the link in for the premiere service once more?
Yeah, put the link in, sure.
Thanks.
We'll do that. But you know, we're going to do it again next week. We're going to do all this again next week, and we're going to do it on Thursday, and we're going to have Learning Chromebooks on Thursday on a podcast. So you don't worry, we'll be around. So anyway, thanks everyone for coming. Thanks, Bill James, for an excellent talk. It was great. I'm going to test that out. I'll probably see you for the Chromebook session. I'm going to test out the Windows and see if I can hook it up to my Chromebook and see how that works out. Anyway, lots more coming. See everybody in a week's time. Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.